So it is August 25th, 2018, and we're going to be transplanting the Rangoon creepers. They're these green ones here that are growing out right here at the bottom of these buckets. I made a video on these approximately a month ago, and I stated that I had planted these from cuttings. I ordered seeds from India and I tried to grow them before. It didn't work out. So I actually came across one of these vines, a random owner, and I asked him if I could take a cutting. So they gave me a branch, and I made it into smaller cuttings in an attempt to propagate and successfully grow it. And as you can see, it turned out pretty well. So I could say these are about two months old. 2 months since I first stuck them into the ground here. I see in a lot of videos on YouTube that many growers and gardeners out there, they actually use rooting hormone to get the plant to go ahead and root. But I didn't do that. I actually kind of wanted to do a trial and error to see if it would actually just grow in good old MIRACLE-GRO potting soil. And I didn't use any rooting hormone. I have another video of the Arabian jasmine, or the pikake, that I did, and that basically shows you how I did these cuttings. I did it exactly the same way that I did the Arabian jasmine cuttings. So like I said before, these turned out really well. And the purpose of today's video is I need to get them out of these pots, because as you can see, these pots belong to these big tea leaf. So we call them here in Hawaii, we call them tea leaves, not the tea that you drink, but tea spelt T-I. They're used for many different things here in Hawaii, and I just think they're beautiful and they're nice to have around. I need to get them out of these pots because I'm pretty sure the tea leaf roots are soaking up all the nutrients that are in there. And as you can see here, there's a bit of burning on the leaves. I'm not exactly sure what that's from, whether it's deficient in something or it's getting too much of something. I'm going to go ahead and get them out of these bigger pots and put them into their own smaller homes with a makeshift tree in it that the vine can actually crawl up. Because as you can see here with this one, let me show you here. It's growing out of this one here. So right here out of this cutting, you have this one that just comes up and it just keeps crawling up. It snaked its way around this tea leaf, this dead tea leaf branch, and it's all the way up here. So I need to definitely get it out of there because it's trying to get out there, but I have a feeling it's being limited by not having something to climb up on. So I'm gonna grab some bamboo and I'm gonna create a makeshift tree for it to climb up. It shouldn't affect the plant. The bamboo stick will die and the plant will be able to climb it up without having any interference from the growing bamboo. I'm at the end of the street here, little neighborhood I live. Here's some bamboo growing just out in the wild here. I'm gonna go ahead and cut some bamboo branches off, create a little makeshift tree for it to kind of climb up, be able to climb and start, growing out. So I'm gonna cut a branch off here, and I'll show you. Actually, let me just show you right now. So you see this branch, as you can see, a lot of branches are kind of branching off of it. So I'll go ahead and cut it. Sorry for the shaking. I'll go ahead and cut it right here. right there. Oh, got a leaf on the lens there. I'm trying to get you guys to see me cutting it here. All right, there. So I'm gonna put the camera down so I can show you what I'm gonna try to create here. This little makeshift tree for the Rangoon creeper to crawl up. All right, so I've got 2 bamboo branches here, and this is so you can see what I want it to look like. So I've cut it off the bamboo bush looking like that, and I want it to look more like this. I'm gonna have to probably trim this one up a little bit more just to get it to fit the pot and stay there a little better. But I just wanted to show you an example of how I want the bamboo to look when it comes to the little makeshift tree that I was talking about, so that the Rangoon creeper can kind of crawl up. But I'll go ahead and water these down, get the roots to loosen up, so it'll be easier for removing from this soil. All right, so we've watered it down quite a bit here, and we're gonna go ahead and try and get one out of there to see what we're working with. As you can see, there's all kinds of roots, you know, in this pot here, but I'm not exactly sure if these roots belong to the tea leaf here, the tea leaf plant, or if they're roots that are actually roots of the cuttings. You can see here the cutting where it ended. This is the top of it, and as you can see, the bottom it's not too big of a cutting, but it did just fine. As you can see here, beneath this leaf, there is a white moth. This is a big pest, a big problem here in Hawaii, these pests. But with some periodic pruning and sometimes you can just shoot the bugs off the leaf, you know, just put it on the showering mode and just kind of spray them off of there, and they'll come off. They'll drown in the water. They might come back, but you could still spray them right off, or get some soapy water or neem oil, which wouldn't affect the plant too much or at all, and you can get these pests off of there, because you can see they just kind of just lay eggs down there, and they stay under these leaves, which is horrible. But we'll go ahead and get that plant out of there. I'll set the camera down and I'll get it out there, and we'll see what we got. All right, so I got that those 2 cuttings. I said I was going to get the smaller one out of the 2, but I was afraid of the roots being entangled in there. As you can see, there's all kinds of roots in there. I'm going to spray it down with the water here. I see this huge root right here, this white one just sticking out of it, and man, I just hope that root was from the tea leaf plant and not the cutting. These smaller brown roots, they look like they could be roots from the cutting, but we're going to spray it down here, and I'm going to keep filming so we could see what roots belong to what plant. All right, so let's go ahead. Okay. All right, well, there we go. There's a good look at what roots came from what plant. And luckily, this giant root here is from the tea leaf plant here. So a whole bunch of roots from the tea leaf plant. As you can see here, there's a whole bunch of roots even coming down from the top. There's a substantial amount of roots that came from this cutting here. And I'm not, you know, I don't want to lie to you guys when I say I didn't use any rooting hormones, but that's exactly what I did. I didn't use any rooting hormones. I just kind of created the cutting, and I just stuck it into the bigger pot that the tea leaf plant was growing out of. There you go. There is a lot of roots coming out of this little cutting here, and that's amazing. It's amazing. It feels really rewarding to be able to successfully propagate this plant. Here's the smaller one. As you can see, not as many roots. Let me get the camera to focus here. Not as many roots, but still just as healthy as the bigger one at the bottom. We'll get them into their individual pots, and I'll show you what it looks like after I've planted it in there. Okay, so I was just about to pot it here and then stick in the makeshift tree for it to climb, but I realized that there's so many roots. If I just poke it down there, I might tear some of the roots off of the plant, and I didn't want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and plant them together. I'll give you an example here. Taking the plant out again with the roots, and I'm going to stick the plant in just like this. I'm going to stick it in together, put it in there at the same time, and plant it as if I'm planting the makeshift tree. That way I don't ruin any of the roots, and I can get this makeshift tree to stick in there pretty well. All right, so I just got done potting the Rangoon creepers into their own pots, and I'm not gonna lie, it took a bit. The smaller Rangoon creepers, I didn't put any trees for them to climb on because they're still small, but in the future I will stick some smaller bamboo branches in there, kind of like these big ones here, so that the small ones can start climbing on it. I'm really glad that the propagation of this plant went really well for me. As I said, it was a trial and error, and I was really skeptical about it in the beginning, but this plant is a little survivor. It actually is able to root pretty well without any rooting hormones. I have used rooting hormones before, but they were for different plants. With the Rangoon creeper, as well as with many other plants, I think it's not necessary. But if you're shooting to have 100%, maybe 80% or more success with rooting, I suggest you do use the rooting hormones. But I wouldn't know anything about what kinds there are out there because I don't really use it, as I like to do all this naturally, other than the MIRACLE-GRO potting soil, of course. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I have 12 Rangoon creepers, and that's about 3/4 of the cuttings that I had originally planted. So 1/4 of them withered away and died, but 75%, I guess, 75% success is what I got. When I do cuttings and I try to propagate, even if I have one plant that survives, I will be happy, because when that one grows up and gets a lot bigger, I can cut that one up and make more cuttings and just continue on that way until I eventually have plenty of that plant. So there it is, the transplanting of the Rangoon creeper. As always, I will always update you on the growth and on the propagation and success or failure. I'm not one of those where I'll show you only the good side of planting plants or collecting plants, but I'll show you, truthfully, what happens along the way. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. I hope you got something that you learned from it, and I hope it was entertaining. So thank you for watching. As usual, if you got questions, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I will see you guys on the next video journal. See you later.